so now we have it all tilled up and ready, and so we've been making rows. So as you can see, these are the rows for the onions and the potatoes. Potatoes will go first over there, and then these are for the onions. So this is what we do. So we put a piece of string so we can kind of have somewhat straight rows. I mean, they're not perfect, but you know, straight by the eye. And then in between, we leave enough because we have a small tiller that we till through, you know, for the weeds. That's why, that's why we do it this way. We leave a room on the edge too for the tiller, so we don't start right up the fence. And this row is for the onions, so it doesn't have to be as deep as for the potatoes. And onion bulbs are easy to plant. Our kids help us a lot. Okay, yeah, so our kids love to plant onions and potatoes with us, so. And actually everything that we plant, but this is the beginning of it. And you just want to line up the hoe with the string, and when you're pulling back, just try not to, you know, move it. Then it will keep it straight. But it doesn't have to be perfect, of course. Okay, so there you go. There's the row. And now we'll start planting and we'll show you guys what it looks like. Bye. Okay, so we're ready to plant our peas. So we have a few different kinds. We have early frosty peas. Those are both of these packs. Then we have Little Marvel, which is all of those. So those are our peas. So we're gonna plant two together every couple inches along our fence row. Really good shelling peas. So that's what we like to do. We shell them. We let them grow. We let them dry out a little bit. Then we pick them, and the kids love to shell peas. And then we freeze them, and then you have peas for the winter. Now they are best when you want to cook them out of the freezer, you need to soak them in water for a little while. I've noticed that will help them be more tender when you cook them. Or cook them for a long time in the crock pot. It will help them too. Okay, Samuel, ready? Okay, ready? Okay, put those ones right here. Yeah, or right there, that's good. Put both of them together, two together. Good job. Now here's some more. Put right here. Two more right here. Okay, two more. Over here. Okay, two more over here. So we're just covering up the peas we just planted, and we cover them about 1 inch deep because it's still pretty early. This is just the middle of March, so we're just covering them up like so. And I just make a shallow row next to them, and then that dirt from that goes on top of them, and that's how they get covered. Kind of like a ditch. Then I help it over if it needs to be pushed over. sometimes I do it from both sides, like that. So we got peas planted and covered, now we're on to potatoes. So our first potato we're doing is Kennebec. Yep, Kennebec. Now when you plant a potato, remember you cut them so where there were eyes, a good amount of eyes onto the top. You want to plant them with the eyes going up, the skin up. Otherwise, if you planted it upside down, it would grow in the dirt and you would never get the potato. So it would not work. So always plant it with the eyes up. And a couple inches apart. Just like most everything you plant it a couple inches apart. So we have Kennebec, and then the other potatoes that the names are not coming to my mind. Oh, Yukon Gold, Potomac Red, and Norland Red. So those are our choices this year. And what we've done, so now we're starting to plant our garden back here. So we've not let, we're not letting the chickens in, but guess what? There's a chicken in and she keeps getting in. This is the third time we've had to chase her out. So that's what I was just saying, right? They want the stuff we're planting. They think it's interesting. So we better go and see what she's getting in again, and we will be right back. Okay, so we finished our 2 rows of Kennebec potatoes. Now we'll do 2 rows of, and I said Potomac Red, they're Pontiac Red. Sorry about that. So these are Pontiac Red potatoes. So we're to have 2 rows of them. And then the other 2 rows, actually, well, I suppose there'll be 4 more rows because we have 2 more kinds of potatoes. So trying to do 2 rows of each kind. So actually, now that I look in the box, or we looked in the box of what we're cutting, the other kind, there wasn't as many. We didn't buy as many because we didn't want, gobs of potatoes. So probably just 1 more row of each. So 2 more rows after these 2. So 6 rows total of potatoes. Thanks, Sam. Good job. Strong boy. And also, when we cover these potatoes, we're going to cover them about 4 to 5 inches deep. Because remember, you want to keep your potatoes deep. So the deeper, the better for potatoes. Okay, we'll be right back with you. We're on to our onions. So we have our peas along the fence, potatoes, 6 rows, and now we're on to our onions. So here are white ones. So we're going to do white, red, and yellow onions. We like a variety. So we love onions. We cut them up and freeze them in the winter. We're gonna have our root cellar hopefully this year, so we can hang them too. And we use onions a lot. So, okay, the way you plant an onion, of course, is the green part or the root part down, the green part up if it has a green part. If not, it's the opposite end. So the root part down, which is the bottom. And now, depending on if you want big onions or green onions or little onions, I suppose would be how close you plant them together. If you plant them close together, you could just pick them early and they could be green onions. If you want them to be bulb onions to grow bigger throughout the year, give them room to grow, because if not, they'll grow together and then you'll have like a weird onion. Okay, so also with the onions, that when we plant the onions, we're gonna cover these all the way up, because it's going to be getting colder for a couple more nights. So right now we're going to be covering them all the way up. It's going to be getting into the 20s again for a couple nights. So now, though, as they grow, we will, after they have about this much green coming up, right? We will cut the greens off. Now, we use the greens, or we freeze the greens just like you do onions, right? And you can use them. It's delicious. It works perfectly good. And then what we do is when that happens, once we do that, then we kind of uncover the top of the onions, because you want the top of the onion to be sitting above the ground. Unlike potatoes, it's okay if onions see the sun, because it just keeps letting them grow. Potatoes, they don't like the sun. Onions like the sun. And also onions, a fun fact about onions is that they love nitrogen. So that is why they do so well in our garden here, because we have a lot of chicken manure in here, like I talked about earlier, which has a lot of nitrogen in it. So the onions, we always do really well growing onions. I think this is a really nice place for them. So onions love nitrogen. So if you're growing onions, make sure your dirt has a lot of nitrogen, or you can add it with chicken manure. So we will be back to show you when we have them all planted, and we're going to cover them up. Thanks. She's tied up. Yep, perfect.
Why
Go that way. Well, the bottom side is the root. Wow! You are a good frog. Yeah, the root part is the flatter part, right? And it has to go down. You know what I mean?
That has to go up.
Yeah, and this is the green part that will go up. Put it more that way. Okay? Okay, let's back up a little bit. Can you back up a little bit, sweetie? Good job. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay.
You know my popsicle?
There you
I'm gonna plant some nuts. I mean, no, I said nuts.
go. Onions?
Yeah, onions. Mom said I was a no popsicle. Hey, a apple.
No, the wrapper can stay on. It's okay.
Yeah, but that one's not. This is time.
Back up that way a little bit. Let's spread them out a little bit, because we're going to go all the way down.
Yep. Wait, I'm put these in there.
Yeah.
But don't plant them.
I won't plant
Don't plant the floor. And if you plant them, I'll definitely need them.
Okay, so we're covering up our potatoes. Now, like I said, you want to cover them pretty deep. So I cover them on both sides. 4 to 5 inches. So potatoes will have a long time to grow to make potatoes. They need to be covered really well. Don't let the sun hit the potato. And throughout the growing, we will have to come back and mound them up around by raking the dirt or using the tiller and mounding dirt around just like this, but then the plant will be in, you'll see the plant in the middle. But yeah, the more you cover up your potatoes, we've learned the more that they'll grow. If you just keep covering them up. Then they'll just keep.
We got this one.
Oh, okay. That one. Now we'll go and do our onions. Our last row of onions here, we won't cover them as steep, but a couple inches. Chili, so those green pieces I'm still covering up. Those will be buried a little deeper. So now we have our peas, potatoes, 6 rows of potatoes, 5 rows of onions, all planted for this year's season. So thanks for watching our channel and subscribe if you like it. Bye.